Today, former members of the Trump Justice Department are sounding the alarm that the recent Supreme Court immunity ruling will make it easier for Donald Trump to use the DOJ against his enemies if reelected. To quote one of them, it sets him up to do the things he said, to investigate people and send them to jail. As part of its 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court granted Trump absolute immunity for official acts as president. That includes any conversations he had with the Department of Justice about investigating unfounded claims of voter fraud. As my next guest writes in a new op-ed for MSNBC, by rewriting the rule that's governed presidential authority for the past 235 years, that no one, not even a president, is above the law, the court has given a green light to any future president inclined to wield his or her executive authority, irrespective of the laws that apply to all other citizens and residents of the United States. King George III would be pleased. This is certainly not the America I thought we would live in as we celebrate the 248th anniversary of our country's independence. Joining me now is the author of that op-ed, former CIA Director John Brennan. Director Brennan, happy 4th of July. Thank you for being with us. It's striking to celebrate this day by saying that King George would be pleased about anything in our current events. So having served 6 presidents as you have, what do you think the long-term consequences of this Supreme Court decision are, and what worries you most about it?
Well, Ali, I think the ruling of the Supreme Court really just does not understand just how potentially dangerous this ruling will be in the hands of any individual who happens to make his or her way to the Oval Office and the office of the presidency, who can wield all of the broad and deep authorities of the president, of the presidency, to carry out whatever agenda he or she may want. The fact that this Supreme Court ruling has put the president above the law for the first time in our country's history, it's so tragically ironic. As you pointed out, we're celebrating the independence of our country from a king. But now we're basically giving a future president, especially one that wants to skirt the law. And as we see that the Republican candidate right now for the office of the presidency, Donald Trump, is somebody who has continually denigrated the importance of the rule of law in this country and has tried to do everything possible to skirt that law. If, in fact, he is elected and with this ruling in his hands, I think a President Trump would, in fact, wield it in a way that will be devastating to our democratic republic.
Well, I'm glad, because you write broadly, Director Brennan, about a future president who could have, in your words, dictator-like ambitions and who seeks to quash any real or perceived political opposition by using the broad and unrivaled powers of the presidency up to and including the use of lethal force. I mean, you write broadly, but you make the point here that you're talking about former President Trump. I mean, can you put this in a broader perspective as you talk to colleagues of yours who have been in similar positions, the fears that they might have if come November, come January after the inauguration, you have another President Trump?
I think my former colleagues are aghast and appalled at this Supreme Court ruling. The President of the United States, in addition to being the commander-in-chief, is also the chief executive of the executive branch. So under the president falls all of the law enforcement, intelligence, homeland security officials with the authorities that are vested in them as a result of their departmental or agency responsibilities. And so therefore, a person like President Trump, former President Trump, who could use this ruling as a way to carry out these types of actions that are basically illegal for everyone else except for a lawless president. And as I point out in my essay, that he, in fact, in using this type of ruling, could issue preemptive pardons to individuals within the executive branch to carry out these actions that would be, in fact, deemed illegal. So again, it's devastating in its consequential breadth. And again, if good and honest people and law-abiding individuals are elected to the office of the presidency, I'm confident, like the presidents that I served, the 6 presidents, as well as President Biden, they will not try to do anything to avoid the law. But if there are individuals who are determined to be lawless, this is giving them a green light to do basically whatever they can and whatever they want to do while they're in the office.
Do you worry, Director Brennan, that these dire warnings coming from you and your counterparts are being drowned out by the larger political conversation that's happening right now in D.C.?
Unfortunately, I think partisan politics has been playing havoc in the corridors of Washington for quite some time. And it's because of these partisan waters that we're not able to address some of the very serious and significant challenges that our country faces. And when I look at a number of these Supreme Court rulings over the past term, which really have had such a breadth in terms of their impact, on all of our lives, not only in the national security arena, but also in the regulatory arena, on individual rights and liberties of women and in terms of what they can do with their bodies. These are things that I think we have to be mindful of, that this upcoming election, the presidential election and congressional election, really does hold in its balance what our future is going to look like. And so, therefore, I do think that it's important for us to be able to focus on the issues that are important and are significant, as opposed to just getting involved in these partisan bickering fights that really, I think, distract us from those issues that we really should be worried about.
The op-ed is sober and serious, and I thank you for taking some time out of this July 4th holiday to join us and talk about it. Director Brennan, thank you.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.